The Old Persian language is one of the two directly attested Old Iranian languages. Old Persian appears primarily in the inscriptions, clay tablets, and seals of the Achaemenid era. Examples of Old Persian have been found in what is now present-day Iran, Romania, Armenia, Bahrain, Iraq, Turkey and Egypt. The most important attestation by far being the contents of the Behistun inscription. Recent research into the vast Persepolis fortification archive at the Oriental Institute at the University of Chicago have unearthed Old Persian tablets. This new text shows that the Old Persian language was a written language in use for practical recording and not only for royal display. Origin and overview. As a written language, Old Persian is attested in royal Achaemenid inscriptions. It is an Iranian language and as such a member of the Indo-Iranian branch of the Indo-European language family. The oldest known text written in Old Persian is from the Behistun inscriptions. Old Persian is one of the oldest Indo-European languages which is attested in original texts. The oldest date of use of Old Persian as a spoken language is not precisely known. According to certain historical assumptions about the early history and origin of ancient Persians in southwestern Iran, Old Persian was originally spoken by a tribe called Parsuwash, who arrived in the Iranian plateau early in the first millennium BCE and finally migrated down into the area of present-day Fars province, and their language, i.e., Old Persian, became the official language of the Achaemenid kings. Assyrian records, which in fact appear to provide the earliest evidence for ancient Iranian presence on the Iranian plateau, give a good chronology but only an approximate geographical indication of what seem to be ancient Persians. In these records of the 9th century BCE, Parsuwash are first mentioned in the area of Lake Urmia in the records of Shalmaneser III. The exact identity of the Parsuwash is not known for certain, but from a linguistic viewpoint, the word matches Old Persian parsa itself, coming directly from the older word *parqua. Also, as Old Persian contains many words from another extinct Iranian language, Median, according to P.O. Shavo, it is probable that Old Persian had already been spoken before formation of the Achaemenid Empire and was spoken during most of the first half of the first millennium BCE. Xenophon, a Greek general serving in some of the Persian expeditions, describes many aspects of Armenian village life and hospitality in around 401 BC, which is when Old Persian was still spoken and extensively used. He relates that the Armenian people spoke a language that to his ear sounded like the language of the Persians. Classification. Old Persian belongs to the Iranian language family, which is a branch of the Indo-Iranian language family, itself within the large family of Indo-European languages. The common ancestors of Indo-Iranians came from Central Asia sometime in the first half of the second millennium BCE. The extinct and unattested Median language is another Old Iranian language related to Old Persian. The group of Old Iranian languages was presumably a large group, however our knowledge of it is restricted mainly to Old Persian, Avestan and Median. The former are the only languages in that group which have left written original texts, while Median is known mostly from loanwords in Old Persian. Language evolution. By the 4th century BCE, the late Achaemenid period, the inscriptions of Artaxerxes II and Artaxerxes III differ enough from the language of Dariusa inscriptions to be called a pre-Middle Persian, or post-Old Persian. Old Persian subsequently evolved into Middle Persian, which is in turn the genetic ancestor of New Persian. Professor Gilbert Lazard, a famous Iranologist and the author of the book Persian Grammar, states, the language known as New Persian, which usually is called at this period by the name of Parsi Dari, can be classified linguistically as a continuation of Middle Persian, the official religious and literary language of Sasanian Iran, itself a continuation of Old Persian, the language of the Achaemenids. Unlike the other languages and dialects, ancient and modern, of the Iranian group such as Avestan, Parthian, Sogdian, Kurdish, Pashtu, etc., Old, Middle and New Persian represent one and the same language at three states of its history. It had its origin in Fars and is differentiated by dialectical features, still easily recognizable from the dialect prevailing in northwestern and eastern Iran. Comparison of the evolution at each stage of the language shows great simplification in grammar and syntax. However, New Persian is a direct descendant of Middle and Old Persian. Substrates. Old Persian, presumably, has a median language substrate. The median element is readily identifiable because it did not share in the developments that were peculiar to Old Persian. Median forms are found only in personal or geographical names, and some are typically from religious vocabulary and so could in principle also be influenced by Avestan. Sometimes both median and Old Persian forms are found, which gave Old Persian a somewhat confusing and inconsistent look. Horse, for instance, is attested in Old Persian as both Asher and Aspa script. Old Persian texts were written from left to right in the syllabic Old Persian cuneiform script and had 36 phonetic characters and 8 logograms. The usage of such characters are not obligatory. The script was surprisingly not a result of evolution of the script used in the nearby civilization of Mesopotamia. Despite the fact that Old Persian was written in cuneiform script, the script was not a direct continuation of Mesopotamian tradition and in fact, according to Schmidt, was of deliberate creation of the 6th century BCE. The origin of the Old Persian cuneiform script and the identification of the date and process of introduction are a matter of discussion among Iranian scholars with no general agreement having been reached. The factors making the consensus difficult are, among others, the difficult passage DB from Darius the Great, who speaks of a new form of writing being made by himself which is said to be in Aryan, and analysis of certain Old Persian inscriptions that are supposed or claimed to predate Darius the Great. Although it is true that the oldest attested op inscriptions are from Behistun monument from Darius, the creation of this new type of writing seems, according to Schmidt, to have begun already under Cyrus the Great. The script shows a few changes in the shape of characters during the period it was used. This can be seen as a standardization of the heights of wedges, which in the beginning took only half the height of a line. Phonology. The following phonemes are expressed in the Old Persian script. Vowels long, I, U, short, A, I, U. Consonants notes. Lycian Kizapna tildes isifna for Old Persian asterisk Sikafana equals Tisiphonus suggests ts as the pronunciation of c. The phoneme l does not occur in native Iranian vocabulary, only in borrowings from Akkadian. The phoneme r can also form a syllable peak, both the way Persian names with syllabic r are rendered in Elamite and its further development in Middle Persian suggest that before the syllabic r, an epenthetic vowel I had developed already in the Old Persian period, which later became u after labials. For example, op vrkan, vrknr is rendered in Elamite as mirkanu, rendering transcriptions such as vrakana, varkana or even virkana questionable, and making vrkana or virkana much more realistic. While v usually became v in Middle Persian, it became b word initially, except before u, where it became pagram. This suggests that it was really pronounced as w. Grammar. Nouns. Old Persian stems, a stems, I stems, u stems, consonantal stems. Adjectives are declinable in similar way. Verbs. Voices. Active, middle, passive. Mostly the forms of first and third persons are attested. The only preserved dual form is adjuvatum, both lived. Lexicon. Bibliography. Brandenstein, Wilhelm, Handbuch des Altposition, Wiesbaden. O. Harrisowitz. Hind, Walther, Altposition Wortschatz, Nendeln, Liechtenstein. Kraus. Fry, Richard Nelson. Handbuch der Altertumswissenschaft. Alter-Orient Griechische Geschichte Römische Geschichte. Band 3, 7. The History of Ancient Iran. C. H. Beck. ISBN 9783406093975. Kent, Roland G. Old Persian. Grammar, Texts, Lexicon, New Haven. American Oriental Society. Kurt. The Persian Empire. A Corpus of Sources from the Achaemenid Period. Routledge. ISBN 9781136016943. Sims Williams, Nicholas. Iranian Languages. Encyclopedia Iranica 7, Costa Mesa. Mazda. 238-245. Schmidt, Rudiger, Altpersisch, in R. Schmidt, Compendium Linguarum Iranicarum, Wiesbaden. Reichert. 56-85. Schmidt, Rudiger. The Old Persian Inscriptions of Nakshi Rustam and Persepolis. Corpus Inscriptionum Iranicarum by School of Oriental and African Studies. ISBN 9780728603141. Schmidt. Old Persian, in Roger D. Woodard, The Ancient Languages of Asia and the Americas, Cambridge University Press, pp. 76-100, ISBN 0521684943. Shavo, Prodzokta, Iran, Vi. Iranian Languages and Scripts, Encyclopedia Iranica 13. Tolman, Herbert Cushing. Ancient Persian Lexicon and the Texts of the Achaemenid and Inscriptions transliterated and translated with special reference to their recent re-examination. New York, Cincinnati. American Book Company.